All right, good morning, guys. This is lesson 1 in the last unit of the school year. We're going to be working with exponents, and first thing we're going to start out with is when you multiply exponents. This is called the product property. Product being multiplying is your answer for multiplying is when you find the product. Okay, so I have an example here. We're going to run all the way down. Now the algebraic example uses the x, which are the variables, and then it uses a and b as your exponents, meaning these are probably two different numbers. So what they want you to do is multiplying the base, which gives you the x. The x stays the same, the base stays the same. The base, it means whatever the exponent is above, that is your base. So the base is going to stay the same, but you notice you're going to add the exponents. So I'm adding a and b, while my base x stays the same. Now let's go to an example that actually has numbers. Now notice here your base is now 7. Your exponents are not a and b anymore, they're actual numbers, 3 and 4. So there's a multiplying sign there, but for your answer you notice your base stays the same as you did up here. What happened to the exponents? I added these two numbers and got an exponent of 7. Okay, so my base is going to stay the same, and then I'm going to add the exponents. Now here's why this works. This says 7 to the third power, which means you're doing 7 3 times. Multiplied by a 7 to the fourth power, which means you're multiplying 7 by 4 sevens. And that gives you a total of 7 sevens. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different sevens. So this is the reason this works. I'm going to give you a minute to write this down. And then we're going to go into some examples. Okay, so here are the actual examples that we're going to be working on. So we're just going to go down the list. Let's start with number 1. You notice your base, which is next to the variable is next to the exponent, is x. So that is going to stay the same. So what are you going to do to these two numbers? You're going to add them. So that would be an x to the 7th. How did I get 7? I added 4 and 3. Okay, so that's example 1. The base, notice the base stayed the same, and the base is the number or the variable next to the exponent. Let's go to example 2. We got a to the 2nd times a to the 5th times a. Now notice this a means a to the 1st, but we usually don't put it there. It's usually just implied. That means a to the 1st. So my a is going to stay the same, and then I'm going to add my exponents. So 2 plus 5 is 7, plus, don't forget that 1, is 8. Now why does that work? Well, I've got 2 a's, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 a's, and then I have 1 on the end. So how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's my 8. I just kind of use it as this is called expanded form. Okay, now we've got some different situations coming up. Let's look at 3. You notice m is your base, but you also have a -6 and a 2. These are dealt with differently. That m is the base for the exponent, so that is going to stay the same. So what you're going to do here is you're going to multiply like you regularly would 2 and -6. So what is 2 and -6? Don't forget, positive and a negative gives you a -12. Okay, notice that is not the base of the exponent, this 6 and this 2. The base is the m. So the m is going to stay. Now you've got m to the 5th and m to the 3rd. We're going to add these together, which gives you m to the 8th. Now, this one is different because you have 2 and a -6. Those are not your base numbers. Those are your coefficients. So you multiply those. Your base letters are m. M stays the same, but you got to raise the exponent by adding it. Okay? Let's go to question 4. They're becoming a little bit larger. Let's see, you got 4g to the 4th, 3g to the 9th, and then g to the 3rd. So again, you have two coefficients. So that you're just going to multiply those regularly. That's 12. Now you have g to the 4th, g to the 9th, and then you've got a g to the 3rd. You're going to add these. So that gives us a total of g, well, you got 4 here, that's 9 there, that's 13, and a 3, that's 16. Let's see if we covered everything. We multiplied our 4 into 3, got 12. We have g4 and g9, that's g13, another g3 gives me g to the 16. Okay. Okay, let's go down to the bottom. Now, we notice here we have a y and a z and a y and a z. Now, you can't combine all those. You can combine some of them. So let's first take care of the 3 and the 7. I'm going to write down here on the bottom. That is going to give you 21. Now, let's take care of the y's. I can only combine a y with a y. So that's y to the 4th. Sorry, we're going to add those. And y to the 2nd, which gives us y to the 6th. Then you have to do it to your z's. I've got z to the 2nd and z to the 7th. And that's going to be add those z to the 9th. So let's review it. 3 times 7 is 21. Y to the 4th, y to the 2nd gives me y to the 6th. 4 plus 2 is 6. Z to the 2nd, z to the 7th gives me z to the 9th. So that work checks out. Last one. Let's see what we have here. We have an 8 and a 5. I have an A and an a B and a B, and a C and a C. So I'm going to have 3 variables, it looks like. Let's take care of this first. So that's going to give me 40. How many A's do we have? I got 6 A's and 5 A's added. That's A to the 11th. I've got a 1B and a 7B. That's B to the 8th. Don't forget about the C. 3C, 1C, C to the 4th. Let's double check. 8 times 5 is 40. 6, A to the 6th, A to the 5th, A to the 11th, 6 plus 5. B to the 1st, B to the 7th, B to the 8th. 1B, 7B, 8. 3 and 1 is 4. So that looks like it checks out. So the key to doing this, when they get a little bit more difficult, well, let's start with the more simpler ones. The bases are the numbers, the variables next to the exponents, so those stay the same. As we did here, A stayed the same. But when we got down here, we had coefficients also, so we have to multiply those and then take care of the m. M's the base, it stays, and then the exponents are added. Okay, so there is your product property. I'm going to leave these up and let's make sure you got them all written down. That is part of lesson 1. Tomorrow we will be reviewing division properties.